just a quick reminder, 7:30 we will have the second phase and the overall state numbers. As of now, we've declared for the first phase, which was 121 seats. It seems like the NDA has definitively the edge there. But I want to go across to, just one second, Rashid, we'll come back in just a couple of minutes. If we have our colleague Shivani, who is joining us live from outside the Red Fort, where the blast happened yesterday in which 8 people have died. Shivani, take it away. What's the latest? What are police sources telling you? What are the investigators telling you? How far have they gone in trying to solve the maze, or who was it behind the attack yesterday?
Yeah. So, Zaka, through the day, we've been picking up what agencies and police sources have been telling us. One, that ammonium nitrate has been found abundantly at the site here where the blast took place. So that is, of course, pointing the connection to this entire Faridabad module that has been busted by the agencies just in the run-up to this blast. What remains to be seen, though, is whether the DNA samples of Dr. Umar Nabi, who's a suspected bomber in this case, in the car, in that I-20 car, whether his DNA samples via his family matches, because there is, of course, yet his remains are yet to be identified. What we do know is that his car was parked for roughly 3 hours right where I am, close to the Suneri Masjid parking. And he didn't get out of the car. That is what the police is saying after scanning the CCTV footages. He didn't get out of the car for 3 hours. So why was he sitting in the parking and in the car? And then he took his car out around 6:49. And in a few minutes from then, there was a blast that took place at the red light right in front of Red Fort. So, of course, even as the FSL teams, etc., have collected evidence, they are going to go through the lab, formalities. But what we are being told is that there is very much a link that is coming to light between what transpired at the Red Fort and what could be this Faridabad Al Falah University module. My colleagues Arunima, Anshul, Ananya and others have also been, collating a lot of this information on record. We only know what the Home Minister has said after doing the review meetings earlier today, which is that the instructions are that each and every one of the conspirators and perpetrators should be brought to book. For more on that, let me go across to my colleague Arunima, who's joining us. Arunima, which way is the investigation focusing on?
So the National Investigation Agency has just taken over the probe from Delhi Police, also from Faridabad Police, Jammu and Kashmir Police, as well as Uttar Pradesh Police. Even though individually Jammu and Kashmir Police, Faridabad and Uttar Pradesh Saharanpur Police will continue to do their own probe, this all now seems connected, and therefore NIA will look at their investigation as well. It's possible that more than one FIR is registered, not just for the Delhi car blast case, but also for radicalization, for putting up posters that Naugam Srinagar case that Jammu and Kashmir Police is probing. Investigators essentially are focusing on 4 questions. First and foremost, who's the handler? It is suspected that there was a Telegram, radicalization module, more than one platform on Telegram that was being run. And all these people who have been arrested, as well as Dr. Umar, who's been killed, they were radicalized on that platform. So first and foremost, even though it is suspected that Jaish-e-Mohammed was behind this attack, who was it that was behind this? Who's the handler? That's question number 1. Second, from where was the explosive procured? That's a very important question. My colleagues Anvit and Ankur have picked up after speaking to their sources that RDX could have been used. Now, ammonium nitrate prima facie is what police told our team. But if any trace of RDX has been found, then it changes everything. RDX is a military-grade explosive. It can't be bought off the shelf. Ammonium nitrate can still be procured because it is in urea. It is utilized for agriculture purpose, but RDX getting smuggled into this country is an act of war, so to say, from across the border. Question number 3, are there more people? At least one more doctor has been detained. So there is a possibility that this module is still getting unraveled. And number 4, if forensically it is established that Dr. Umar indeed was the Fedayeen bomber, then who gave him that instruction to carry out this Fedayeen blast and how?
Exactly. Absolutely. And on that, we've been getting you more of this entire Jaish-inspired module that seems to be behind this entire blast. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta has been piecing together this Maulvi Irfan, who has been caught in the web of the agencies after those posters came to light in Naugam in Kashmir, and then this cleric was brought to the fore and investigations were conducting. Now this cleric is believed to be at the heart of the radicalization that has gone on of medical students, even in government medical institutions, both the ones that are in Kashmir and also of course the likes of Al Falah University in Faridabad. This cleric Irfan is believed to be the one who was inspiring these medical students who later turned on to become doctors to carry out these attacks. And there is a definite imprint of a Jaish style, old school Jaish style Fidain attack module that has come to light. It seems there was an attempt to show the ability to conduct such blasts right in the heart of the national capital. For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Anshul, who's also joining us. Anshul, a lot of the investigation direction is going towards this Maulvi Irfan, who seems to be the primary radicalizer and also in contact with with handlers in Afghanistan apparently.
Definitely, but this still could just be the tip of the iceberg. There could be more such Maulvis who could have been carrying such operations across the country at this point in time as well. And there is no way to find out that exactly who are the people who are involved in this. And that is the reason why, even as we are speaking at this point in time, the investigation into the ammonium nitrate that was recovered from Faridabad, which was recovered approximately 7 to 8 days ago. The 350 kgs of ammonium nitrate that was recovered 7 to 8 days ago. And even after that, we are seeing that still those raids are underway. How many more people are involved? What is the exact involvement of this university? This is something that is being looked into. 6 more people have been taken into custody. The HR of this university is under the lens of the investigators because he is said to be that one person who has played a pivotal role in bringing people from Kashmir all the way over here to the outskirts of Faridabad, and then eventually trying to go ahead and somewhere or the other brainwash them and get them to do the jobs that they want them to do. So this is definitely a large nexus, a sort of a new nexus that has come to the fore. The manner in which the bomb blast has been, or the blast has been, has happened, that is a new modus operandi that has been seen. The manner in which the explosives were used, that is yet again a fresh sign of a new modus operandi that has been that has come out. So definitely there are a lot of first times that has happened in this entire incident, and that is the reason why the investigators are taking their time to come to a conclusion before saying anything on record. Remember, even till today, the only official version that has come in from the police was approximately an hour after the blast had happened, and the Delhi Police Commissioner had given a press brief. Post that, there has been absolutely no press briefing or no official statement or on-record statement that has either come in from the Delhi Police or any other agency for that matter. So definitely there are a lot of reports.
No, so NIA has taken over this investigation over now. While there has been no official clarification on exactly who is behind the blast and exactly who are the individuals linked, if there is a link to the Al Falah University cash recovery as well. But there are a lot of signs that are pointing out to what has transpired. And because the UAPA has been invoked, I want to go across to my colleague Ananya on that. Because the UAPA has been invoked, the Explosive Act has been invoked, it goes us to show that certainly terror has not been ruled out, and investigations are currently looking at this. At least at the investigation stage as a possible terror attack.
Well, you know, it's in fact a terror attack because it's make it very, very clear that Section 16 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is pertaining to, in fact, which is defined as the terrorist act, in fact, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of the UAPA has been invoked along with that Section 18 of the UAPA. Both these leading to, in fact, at least a life term and the maximum punishment going up to a death penalty. And this is in fact why such stringent laws have been imposed. In fact, UAPA is a law wherein which the accused can be held under police custody for over 30 days in one go. The investigators can ask for their custody, and that is something that makes it very, very crucial. So definitely a terror attack is something that has not been ruled out at all as far as this investigation goes, and a watertight case is would be prepared by the investigators as far as this particular blast is concerned, because it is only after 2011 that Delhi has seen such a incident happening again, and this is something that the investigators would be worrisome about. They want to put out a very watertight case as far as things are concerned.
Absolutely. Suffice to say that there are alarm bells ringing as far as the security apparatus is concerned. Yes, a cache of nearly 3 tons of explosive material was captured and discovered, but something has gone amiss for this particular suspected bomber, Dr. Umar Nabi, to manage to roam around the national capital region with suspected explosives and to even be able to detonate it. Whether it was intentional or it went off before the planning, that remains to be seen as well, because the sequence of events suggests that there may have been some plan to take it to a different location. He had stopped at a red light here at the Red Fort, in front of the Red Fort, and it went off. Was it planned or was it unintentional timing? Remains to be seen. But we're keeping a very close watch on all of these developments, even as we are waiting for the Prime Minister's arrival back into India, and tomorrow certain important cabinet meetings are also lined up. Back to the studio.